Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Looks like we've got a beautiful day in store for us here in the Ozarks, a little on the warm side. And they're saying that this week we might see triple-digit temperatures, actual triple-digit, not just heat index. So if not, we'll be getting pretty close to that. So gonna be a warm one, but it is August, so that's what we have to deal with. Had a really good live stream last night. If you missed it, you can go back and watch it, but a really good one. And a lot of people are kind of paying attention to what's going on. The predictions, and when I say predictions, I'm talking from the U.S. government. They're saying that they believe that Iran and its proxies and its axis of allies and stuff are probably going to make its attack against Israel Monday. Now, that could be Monday today, because by this afternoon, this evening, it'll be Monday there, right? So we could start seeing that stuff happen today, and it's looking pretty nasty. Like I said last night, there's been indication that Russia's been sending arms shipments into Iran, and Russia pretty much kind of said that they would. They said that they told America, they said, you've been arming our enemies, and so now we're going to start arming your enemies. So that's not too surprising, I guess. But everything that on the surface, I mean, if this ends up being just fizzling out and not being a big deal, they've put a lot of effort into making it look pretty big. And I personally believe that the reason why this is becoming a bigger thing than it probably, I don't know, would be normally, is because of the United States. I think the United States bears a lot of blame on this, in the sense that the United States could de-escalate things. They could figure out some kind of solution. The United States have been known to do that at times in the past, but right now the Biden administration, or the Kamala administration, they need this to be crazy. They need things to go down south bad. And so, yeah, I think it's going to happen. You know, myself, and I can think of a few others online that for the last year or two have been saying that World War III is not likely going to start in Ukraine, between Russia and Ukraine, but more likely it's going to start in the Middle East. I'm pretty sure that Joe Fox at Viking Preparedness has said that. I've said it a couple of times. So, excuse me, I think that there's a pretty good possibility that things could start spiraling out of control. So we need to be ready for that, and all the repercussions. And when I say repercussions, look at England right now. England, it seems to be just falling apart. I've gotten messages from people that live in the UK, and they're saying that it's worse than what the news is reporting. They're saying that it's in multiple areas. You know, the news is reporting that it's pretty much happening in London, but they're saying that it's happening in all sorts of other places. And not surprisingly, the British government seems to be siding with the immigrants, the Muslim immigrants they're causing a lot of the violence. Even the new prime minister has stated that their goal is to ensure the protection of the Muslim migrants. So that could be a little window into the future of what may happen here in the United States. I mean, you know, we have had at minimum 15 million people come across the border in the last few years, but that number could easily be in the neighborhood of 40 million, which is a significant, a huge amount of people that's come across illegally. And we don't know how many of those people could do things like what we're seeing in England. So things could really spiral quickly. And I don't say those things to cause panic in people. I don't. But it's also important that we're aware of the strong possibilities of these things happening. So we have to continually prepare and get ready for that. You know, one of the things I want to segue here And some of you are just going to be so irritated at this because you just don't like that. I don't understand. Of all the things, I'm going to get on a little soapbox for a second. Of all the topics that I have talked on over the years doing these videos, this is the one topic that the listeners just cannot stand me to talk about. I mean, a good portion of. I mean, I've talked about all kinds of other things, race and abortion and, you know, pro-Trump, anti-Trump, all this kind of stuff. But this one thing, and it's about the community around you. Maybe it's because you're tired of it. But the reason why I push it so hard is because it's the one thing that most in the preparedness world is not talking about enough. Not talking about enough of how, you know, you have to build a community around you. You have to support that community. You have to invest in that community around you. And I understand that not every place in the country it would work. There's just some places that you could say they're already lost. But for many of you, you can take the area that you live in and put some effort into it, and you'd be surprised what you'll get back. And I'm not talking about doing anything any different and radical and new and trying some. I'm talking about going back to the way things used to. Some of you older folks, you can remember back when a lot of small communities, towns, rural areas of America really kind of stuck together. You know, they were, you know, they were kind of out there on their own. They didn't consider themselves just part of the big conglomerate America. They were little islands on their own where people kind of held things together on their own, and they stuck together and they helped each other out. And that kind of mentality is what's really going to be needed with the things that's coming up, because these problems that we face are so global, they're so radical, they're so evil, and they're permeating every corner of the planet that, you know, we have to try as best as we can to protect the communities that we live in. And if we can do that, if we can put the effort into it, you'd be surprised. And I'm telling you, the area that we live in, it's not perfect at all. It's not there, and no area is. You know, is there drug use? Yes. Is there some crime? A little bit. Crime's not too bad in this area, but it does exist. I mean, it does everywhere. Are there people that are just, you know, lazy and they just want to get their welfare check and stuff? Yes, those people exist everywhere also. There's people that are just mean, stabby in the back. I mean, that's everywhere. But in my experience, the bulk of people that live around in our area are really good people. And they want to see their community like it was once when they were a child. And they just need some guidance, some leadership, some hope. And many of you, whether you look at yourself as being a prepper, a homesteader, or just a Bible-believing child of God, we can do that. We can do that. And we can get in our communities and work and volunteer and do various things that, you know, there's things that we do as a group here that on the surface may not necessarily, you might say, well, what does that have to do with prepping? Well, directly, maybe not a lot, but indirectly, we are working in our community and serving in our community, which increases the overall strength of our community, which that is preparedness. And when we look at all this horrible stuff that's going on in the world, stuff in Israel, stuff in Ukraine, and here in the United States, Venezuela, Great Britain, Taiwan, all of these other places that, whether it's economics, whether it's war, whether it's just, you know, morality, whatever it is, they seem to be falling apart. The stock market, you know, you bet, hold on to the stock market Monday, because Monday morning when it opens, it might be a little crazy. Maybe not, but it's quite possible. Things like that are happening everywhere. And that's part of their evil plan, is to give this appearance that everything is just falling apart. And in a lot of ways it really is, but they want you to see that. They want you to lose hope. And that's part of their plan, is to not place your hope in and in your community, not to lean on each other. They want you to get to a point of desperation to where you'll lean on them, the system, the government, for salvation, for protection, for all these kinds of things. And when we do that, then we've really lost at that point. And what people need to realize is that, number one, our salvation only comes from one place, and that's from the Most High. And then number two, the leaning on each other, it needs to be from the people around us, because they're going to know us best. They're going to understand what's best for the people around us because they live there. And this concept of community, of small little areas that they kind of stick together, and they're helping each other out, taking care of each other, that's been around since the dawn of time. And only in these modern times, these modern globalist concepts have we done away with that. We've got to get back to that. And so it's part of your mutual assistance group, but it's bigger than that. Your mutual assistance group should be the one out there, volunteering at the local community center, volunteering at the nursing home, volunteering at the fire station, volunteering, if the Lions Club is putting on an event to raise money for, widows in your area, you should be right there. You may not be part of the Lions Club. I'm just mentioning them, or it could be the American Legion or whatever. Get out there and get your name out there and show the people in your community that you care and that you're trying to help. Maybe the local school is doing some fundraiser. Maybe you don't agree with public schools. I don't. I think you should homeschool. But you know what? It's building back and putting back into the community, and so we do that. And also, while you're doing that, you're shining the light of Yeshua, which is exactly what he told us to do, to show the world him, to show the world the word. And we do that through our actions. And if we do these things along with trying to be self-sufficient, our own personal preps, our preps as a little mutual assistance group, a tribe, whatever you want to call it, your mag. If we do all these things, historically it's shown, and I believe it will happen again, that areas like that will do much better. They'll be able to stand on their feet a little bit stronger and a little bit longer than the rest of the world when things start to fall apart. And they will fall apart. I don't know the timeline, but it's happening. It's happening in real time right now. And so we've got to put forth the effort. It's time, it's sweat equity, and sometimes a little money, but mostly it's just giving of yourself back into the areas around you, taking care of your neighbor, making sure that, if he's doing something and he needs some help, you go talk to him. The neighbor on the other side, someone down the road, various things like that we need to be doing, because the world is falling apart, folks. It just absolutely is. Whether it's the end times or it's just a part of the cycle, it's falling apart. And we're going to get drugged down with it unless we're able to stand on our own feet. And when we can stand on our own feet with others around us, then that makes us much stronger. And so I want to encourage you to be doing that. I know it doesn't sound like the typical preps, go buy beans, go buy guns, go buy, get your tourniquets and your IFAKs and your, EDCs and all that kind of stuff. That's the cool stuff, right? That sounds cool. But this that I'm talking about, this is the real work. And this is the work that will pay off big dividends when things fall apart and the people around you stick together. It's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.